Mama ye febia ko ye ni ondo e fa so ye many. Now many ye yakasara yapalea.
Ozafo mamu nyina jo ya damasi anwumrei sabre ya no twa pa ho simadua sam yenu ti aka simadua no nwotwe na abo no nkron peace 104.3 FM suni Jumadi de the platform ya the platform bro dwada ni ukua da bia bra no nwotwe kase ebo no akọ na wiye ya frame na ya KESSEH obetia frame the cardinal me na me dey platform Jumadi ho chiame Isaac Oduro head of production Patricia Sefa Fisher Prince Bafo Asamoah Samuel Apia and Elizabeth Ejin omuna hihye na madi ho chiame mamu nyina adwo edamase obi bisa say nenenso mbaba ya baba say Champions League ni ntimo ka se ye ma ho na the sports for no mtena fie kakra nti ya baba ya ba so na e ba bedi nkomo no fa ne say ene na Supreme Court basum for tenase ye ne say Mokaya asemo a yere kokoda court ne say so bi eyem na hye mu chiame first deputy speaker na second deputy speaker no oti adwamu a se koba se ye to asem bi so aba o ho kwan so otu bi ana no ene na court bu aye court asem na obu aye ni nyina etietia Supreme Court say an first or second deputy speaker no o ho kwan se oto aba no ebi minority say a travesty of justice say attentrene na ya bunu kom no ya bunu kom say jay jo say usu jo wa so no so de wadi bem ya no wadi bem papa ne bem a wadi nyina ne say okan dada say ono de ohunu mra bia etia no say ono a oye chiame so otie adwam na ogina ne manfo anam bekwa afo ato aba ma no se omra na omegina omanam na se akoba se ye beto aba na ono a onye main speaker no obetra dwam a wo se ontimi nto aba ne bi ontiase entene the position o take ye no has been vindicated also musain Attorney General say Supreme Court aya de papa ruling no omo de mran kasa ko ade Supreme Court yifu atemuafu de omo ti ho abobe so atiase omo nim nyansa e no masua de so masua na wo bedu Supreme Court asem ketwa Supreme Court say nye ya kase ne azekoduro binum na ye de omo gu ho david Supreme Court nye ba bi a ye de odi ahenkan binum sa no david serious business serious business yemfa odi ahenkan Isaac Oduro nom sa david nyanyom ne de omudi agro ho na be ko duru Supreme Court no aye court kunni court batai no na enya asem ketwa ntina ya na oseme wo maame no mienu a enano mienu omoye atemuafo ntia na atemuafo mini omo ho agro kra ba me sister ba ko so yetemuani nti ono me maame no ne de Justice Efiese Wasare Botwe. Now she's been nominated to go to the Sofamudia na Oko Appeals Court. And grandma nankasa Prof Henry Tamenza Bonsu. Prof enyumre yamwajo. Mse platform de went ye grand out me contempt but to the nyeshi. And the man me contempt via tiamwajo. Mse ho so ye pa yeso ye ho ye. Ghana sikasem IMF country director say abanyai say wontimi ne ma na audition kashiri covid bae ampa covid a heavy ase nanso aban we ya no opeso ode covid bibia na ode kwahye covid bibia na ode kwahye covid no omo na aban nya adwen covid mai na Ghana sikasem aginsem udada covid mai na yisikasem babia da na nye ntima aban fa nhye covid bia ti asema ye bisa nwumre ni say aban no a okuta economy ne say covid na ha yen nanso so IMF was there be aban fa nhye no covid no na nya covid no a ma aban fa nhye covid kra nya covid sem ene ye ka no ha sei onso so nti ase ne sei ye na amanyofo no beka sa nwumre omo nkyere omo adwen na nhwe na nhwe ba bi a omo so se befa asoma ya na bibisa ne say okay say baby aye wo no obi agitum say enye wa onye ntum say baby aga na osisi enye nde na say wo no no krentamu kwawa. How do we get out of here? Obi say yemisa kanenso say how did we get here? How did we get here? So basic questions that person na nyumre yebisa ne say how did we get here? Then yesi kasema ye de ayi. He say fuel no me do ha me hwe biom o. Me hwe biom. Kanen go ye bema udru ha o filema me. Nansa ne nam hu say chale nipa enwo because me na ze koduro nyina ba adwuma. Ye kona eyi ho Sport M goal na ho na e to fuel Sport M goal na ho no na ze gidi manim ti me ya ni se meti so ka chele din se 5 cedis say lady no mu fuel 5 cedis and I'm say oh Isaac and I'm say lady no feel man nya hwe ni pass on me on feel man so sense aha e chira in the birthday dina me ho na sa no e chira Isaac Godru birthday enti Isaac team platform we are proud of you. We wish you advance one God's blessings, mercies, favor and divine grace upon your life as you celebrate your 29th birthday. Yakupo Nshirao no bibia nye kama emfa mount ti ochira ye my manager is Godru the number the birthday ti me no bra penny odi anga kwa me yebo a ma happy birthday. And you may Kamaldeen Abdallah, or Deputy Communications Director, NPP. And Dr. Ibrahim Zubeiru, a lecturer, Accra Technical University, or a member, NDC's Communication Team National. Eranum Yenui, and I'm no more na Yabo and Komo. The platform, and Wasugusu Auti. After the Supreme Court ruling, Yentie Asemwa and Joe Wise, Ekaye. After the ruling, no, Yentie Joe Wise.
The privilege of reading the reasoning of the judgment. I've seen excerpts, the title head, should I say, of the specific areas. And I'm glad that the decision practically affirms the position I took. There's still some misrepresentation as to whether I participated in the vote itself on the night of the 30th. That I must emphasize, that everybody who is in doubt must go back and look at the clip. It was a voice vote, and I did not participate in the voice vote. But I insisted that I be counted as a member of parliament present to constitute the quorum before a decision was taken. Indeed, this decision affirms that position that I took. I find that very refreshing. Soon after that decision, a former Speaker of Parliament called me and he said, I called you to congratulate you for being bold to take this decision because that is how the frontiers of the law are expanded. Matters that have never arisen are now in the fore because of the numbers we have in the chambers. So anytime there's disagreement, as I've said already, I will interpret the rules and the law as I understand it. I encourage people who disagree with me to boldly state their position and if need be, refer to the appropriate body like the Supreme Court to guide us. As of now, at the end of it all, we are being guided. What we have not done before, where the way was not clearly marked out by our own standing orders, has now been cleared by the Supreme Court, and I think it will help us advance our democracy and our practice in this chamber.
We are your first Deputy Speaker, Honorable Joe Oseusu, Joe Wise, and Yata Efreno. Ebra Supreme Court no emani ruling wiye na samo ode etu edwa eno mo manage Champions League ehono Santiago Bernabeu ena omusi akan no osi akan simedu anan baako Paris Saint-Germain ya first round no omo share baako a Real Madrid entimi ante no abrante kro no a wo share sa goal no Kylian Mbappe wasan ahye the etia Real Madrid at the form was Santiago Bernabeu PSG Asha Kabakwa untumi NTA. Now let's see how it goes. Muguso Amutie platform media update ya baba biano mema mason ate. Na minority leader Haruna Idris so kyerɛ sɛ ɛna ruling no a ɛbaeɛ no ɛnyɛ ɛtan kyerɛ sɛ Supreme Court no so da me asa won dem ntimi fama no nka but the woman say ɛnyɛ de aka da mu yentie mfiri ono ana no yentie mfiri ono ana no.
Parliament shall by standing orders regulate its own proceedings. When we regulate our own proceedings, and today reference is only made to the 1992 Constitution and not to the standing orders of the Parliament of Ghana, and in particular Standing Order 13. Today as we speak, the Speaker is indisposed. There is a presiding person in the first Deputy Speaker. So for your purposes, can you imagine what will happen in Parliament? While the first deputy is presiding, there is no second deputy speaker available who will preside to supervise him voting for our purposes. He will walk down, vote. At that time, there will be no person presiding over the Parliament of Ghana. This is a judicial support for President Nana Addo Dankwa's e-levy that he is laboring to pass. Judicial support for e-levy for a struggling economy in distress, and judicial support for the restoration of a matter that they have said is constitutional is repugnant to the provisions of Article 102 and 104. But what can we do? They are clothed with the mandate and authority to interpret the law. This is a travesty. This is a travesty of parliamentary justice and a step in the growth and development of multi-party constitutional democracy built on the spirit and principle of checks and balances. Parliament shall by standing orders regulate its own proceedings. When we regulate our own proceedings, and today reference is only made to the 1992 Constitution and not to the standing orders of the Parliament of Ghana, and in particular Standing Order 13. Today as we speak, the Speaker is indisposed. There is a presiding person in the first Deputy Speaker. So for your purposes, can you imagine what will happen in Parliament? While the first deputy is presiding, there is no second deputy speaker available who will preside to supervise him voting for our purposes. He will walk down, vote. At that time, there will be no person presiding over the Parliament of Ghana. This is a judicial support for President Nana Addo Dankwa's e-levy that he is laboring to pass.
Yeah, Hanana. Na me se mentimi mfa ma no nka no mote na submission to ho pa no Isaac for the avoidance of doubt but your repeat voice no.
Parliament shall by standing orders regulate its own proceedings. When we regulate our own proceedings, and today reference is only made to the 1992 Constitution and not to the standing orders of the Parliament of Ghana, and in particular Standing Order 13. Today as we speak, the Speaker is indisposed. There is a presiding person in the first Deputy Speaker. So for your purposes, can you imagine what will happen in Parliament? While the first deputy is presiding, there is no second deputy speaker available who will preside to supervise him voting for our purposes. He will walk down, vote. At that time, there will be no person presiding over the Parliament of Ghana. This is a judicial support for President Nana Addo Dankwa's e-levy that he is laboring to pass.
Minority leader on also and the platform and was Gusa Utie or her live or Facebook Peace 104.3 FM Peace 104.3 FM Alhaji Kamal Dean former Nazara coordinator, now deputy national communications director of the MPP or Hase you heard him say Dr. Ibrahim Zubeiru ebeba kan ho na yabon komo Zubeiru made the mama kama kwa banafi ya heard nia ewo Kama akwaba
Cardinal mejo so na ti sen
boko
me hu na ache na me ba fi hanso ache papa
na no pe na be wi a ho se ja na mente me master nka as it could do and am be two over na friend am say boss na mente nka o se o ye be adwuma de don't worry na me say ho am na ba no say kama be ba am say okay and kama be ba de am o kama fugu bi o ho Meshena
Isaac Odrone ambassador to Ozi ambassador to Anna ambassador embassy oh but please if anyone who Isaac Odrua very difficult then ono ankasa frame me say o manya visa me say o eni ye bi kwan mame the platform show mame nchia etiefoɔ na yenchia MPP for so na yen admonish obi biara or ye MPP ni mapa the card na onim say organize a party na ya share from polling station
demo ye no
nationwide onim
mo organize no
na onim say the card now say party grow obviously and do
come on in my for say o mama first half PSG 1 Real Madrid 0
very well the party grow na any padjuma so there one or two areas or honoma obenya disagreements kakra now you see sometime onya be out of 275 constituencies na say ebia wanya less than 10 and less than 15 where you have some little disturbances and disagreements you cannot say you haven't been able to properly organize activity or organizing see yenya fake across to ourselves and we say other areas has not been good even me sitting here my constituency I didn't like the way they went about it but with all respect it's a party you be wash a dirty in outsider and here na ko nyina but I believe we will go far and then we will try to put things right about me say ebe ade who say NDC for tam nkonwa ebobo it has happened it has happened before but I'm saying yes we will try penyin for be say akunya and they will sit down and discuss it for us to see what we can do now me chia menua we ache about radio about UK me ti omo kan che papa on Sani Ibrahim New York any obi biara wo diaspora wo tie the platform show anyway now the cardinal
Supreme Court
and then me hu adwuma yi papa first of all me tie minority leader after the Supreme Court ruling and secondly me tie minority chief whip Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim.
A minority whip,
minority deputy whip, rather. Deputy whip. Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim. The cardinal. Me who dream ye papa. Me tino ever one of the networks radio station afternoon show. To the extent say the cardinal. Ye mra pon eda Ghana mra eda honoma obi biara nim say emre bia hye samra ni ase obi ka kire say no standing order enya laws with all respect enya statute e mo biara Ghana because it is regulates parliament's own proceedings ose okofa article 110 a share parliament say omon come out with their proceedings any the way omo de be omodwuma and based on that in intino the Supreme Court any to me to say it is inconsistent with the mother law of Ghana and as emrana omo within inconsistent with the supreme law of Ghana. Me say what kind of argument is this? Kofa Article 11 of the Constitution of Ghana. Ebe ma laws are ewo Ghana nyina. Even that Kachira will say, we nyina law bia and emre bia ebe inconsistent with the provisions of the Constitution. And that's obifi say inconsistent and yet right. No, they could dance Supreme Court. And Mrano Society Supreme Court to me say they should interpret and say enye juma anasa amrano me enye juma. And you know what? Just take Article 2 and read down of the Constitution of Ghana. A catcher will say, "Obi biara odi beko Supreme Court." Supreme Court bema ruling. Omu wie na se mo andie chire a. Wa one day chire no. It is more or less a high crime. against the Constitution of Ghana. Even the president. I may have to read that provision for you to just see.
I just want to understand clearly exactly what you mean.
What it says is that, and simple. Or say, what it is. Is here. May kind this. Article 2. The
1992 Constitution.
Or say, this Constitution shall be supreme law of Ghana, first of all. And any other law found to be inconsistent with any provision of this Constitution shall, to the extent of the inconsistency, be void.
Okay.
Just say, any honum crass. I will say, scrap it. Or say, a person who alleges that, that's the 2. No, 2-1 rather.
Okay.
A person who alleges that an enactment or anything contained in or done under the authority of that or any other enactment or any act or omission of any person is inconsistent with or is in contravention of a provision of this Constitution may bring an action to the Supreme Court for a declaration to that effect. And I quote 2. Or see, the Supreme Court shall, for the purposes of a declaration under clause 1 of this article, make such orders and give such directions as it may consider appropriate for giving effect or enabling effect to be given to the declaration so made. Any person or group of persons to whom an order or direction is addressed under clause 2 for this article by the Supreme Court shall duly obey and carry out the terms of the order or direction. The last one says, failure to obey or carry out the terms of an order or direction made or given under clause 2 of the article constitutes a high crime. That's where the point I was making. Or say constitutes a high crime under this Constitution and shall, in the case of the president or vice president, constitute a ground for removal from office under this Constitution. Nti ye kase emra we yen fanto nchen se na Supreme Court kai no say order 109 clause 3 of the standing orders no inconsistent with the provision of the Constitution. Nti my parliament fan yejuma. Na say parliament ka say there be chinchina like the argument of Ahmed Ibrahim no. Chinchina you proceed separation of powers. I think on that score no near Mrapono Esiani say you have not got the right or you don't have the right to disobey the Supreme Court. Now you see the cardinal, Ediane Kofa Weni na by. Mashada Atnase, I can kind kakra what they have written about the quorum in Parliament. And there are 2 provisions. Article 102 and Article 104. OTA minority, they are making the argument based on Article 104. And of course, there's Article 102 so. Chese, say speaker ni honum. Na say obi preside ya. Nipa no oye speaker na. That is where the argument is so. But if you look at it, the question is whether deputy speakers na ya you from parliament no. Omu ye speaker na say omu nye speakers. Properly so called. But the argument is that over Article 102, it talks about somebody presiding. And then Article 104 no, so it talks about quorum for decision making. And a decision making, no, voting, koso. Where they are saying, say, if you are a member of parliament, then you are the right to vote. See, some make the argument say, once I ya elected and I ya to about more be a better no, or be a sebi, ever say me fi Nanton. Nanton for ya to about my Elijah Hadi to Pharaoh. But now honoma, or say there be. Media, yeah, you a deputy speaker and yeah, taking decision no mean to me voting on behalf of the people of Nanton. Logically and commonsensically, no, it doesn't flow. And the argument is that the fact that we are now honum as deputy speaker, no, now or deputy speaker now, on to me vacating will be so ember presiding.
But said the argument almost a point and I say at that point now what you know Una woye the una woye chairman, una wo this o guide discussion no. Na obi a wo ye referee na say you know o san wo interest was our game no more. Esa wuntimi nye fair.
You see, we've all resorted to making the common sense argument. And I'm boy. You resorted to making the common sense argument. Now, Yamfan say, "Oh, you're a judge. In a case, you can't be a judge in your own cause." That's the argument you are making. But in the case of the wisdom of the framers of the law, almost say, look for 2 deputy speakers. Yanka say 1, or say each one from each other party, from the parties in parliament. It cannot all belong to one party. And I'm a boy. Na omoba na yembisa ye ho e dey enti na omo ye ne tu e bia we preside omo take decision. Now if they take a decision and somebody is supposed to be counted, e bia one has to come in again to sit down. All these are all say common sensical arguments are you making. And minority leader can say a bit ma say no, their second deputy speaker is not in parliament. So will the person vacate and then come and sit down to vote? All these are developments are here. But I'm just trying to say, Emrana Nkasa, these 2 people are 2 deputy speakers. Are they the speakers of parliament properly so called? Or speaker of parliament properly so called? And they are just presiding to ensure that the business of the house continues. It's a developing story. I'm saying Justice Abulai or the case he called Supreme Court. Lawyer Justice Abdullah, that's the name.
Okay.
What indicated say obeja full ruling no. Now or kind area na say officer obeko for reviewer, he would have to go or apply for a review of the judgment. But as it stands now, this argument of say Supreme Court akasa wie na yen fa nye juma and na ye de be juma kra na ye nature no, I think we are actually trying to subvert our own laws. Ghana needs to move on. Now, say this talk of judge way a MPP judge and now court way a MPP court, I think it's pathetic.
But is it peculiar to the NDC?
It is not peculiar to the NDC. I made the same point this afternoon on one of the platforms. Say, yen amanu same for and a copy problem yamayo. It is when we are in opposition, whatever we say is to convince whoever, whether it's right or wrong, to vote for us to come to power. Yeah, but power, necessarily, we are confronted with the reality. Cardinal, that is where we begin to have problems with the way we talk again. Because what can say, Oba and what faces reality. Now, in order to move on, you have a difficulty. But I've always maintained that, say, yen and mebuna ye ba up. Say Yanshasi ain't changing the trend of our politicking and look at what actually ever saved the nation and then stand on it as Americans and other developed countries have done. Say that nobody will honor yet they are more for your politics. Of course, it doesn't mean say your political party will not develop. You have to. But about an issue of this nature where our constitution has to play come into play, where your friends say the development of the nation come into play. And if our parochialism now a party they are not change. And I believe we are beginning to learn and we are beginning to move on. I even give example. Hey, Petroi, they are politics on the no twin chain. Sa na forex market, dollar me any other foreign currency. They are politics. Now so abamia my look at the history. Abamia apart from President Kufuor, time I redenomination. A dollar. At a point, CD was stronger than the dollar. Okay? Until later on, every pay 1 CD. It's beginning to rise. Until say at the most mobile, echo 1 CD 20% the more. Then of course it kept on rising. By the time the NDC left, it was 4 CD 20%. So sana yenina yedichira. And we still continue to argue on that tangent. And I'm saying that this kind of politics, it will help us to the extent that now today the law is clear, says Supreme Court Kasawa or Makasa. And look, Cardinal, let us not underrate the Supreme Court justices. The Cardinal, who they are more, that insulting behavior we put up, no, say they are then somebody sit down to say that judge is a political judge, and I wash political lenses. and I'm saying, I think we should stop it because these are people who are men and women of integrity. They have an integrity to protect, and posterity is there to judge them based on the judgment they give, and they are mindful of that. Now, so now officer Sebi, Obi Papa, Obi Nana, what rise to that level? Come on, NDC because the person didn't just wake up one day to become a Supreme Court justice, a justice. What rise it throughout? Ebi no your lawyer nimapa, wa fuma my abejino, President abejino, no aba. That experience the person has gathered to the level, no? And so, by betinaha, you want to say whatever you want to say. The danger is that we will vilify our courts, we will destroy our courts, and tomorrow, assemble, you would have nowhere to go. Isn't it interesting? The very people who are saying, say Supreme Court, no, and now kasa me no say 2 rates and they are called Supreme Court for interpretation
of them.
Many are brother Jemfi. A case I call that Supreme Court and
interpretation of what?
Or say your friend is saying, I think he's taking some reliefs based on Maxwell Ajimai, Upoka Ajimai appointment to the Court of Appeal.
To the Court of Appeal.
Yes. Or say certain provisions, based on that, no, there are some inconsistencies of the law, and she's seeking some interpretation from the Supreme Court, whether Maxwell Upoka Ajimai is qualified or not qualified. The same people like I say, Omo, Sebi, no. Omo, my judgment, instead of say you take your time, judgment, can you cry or say, oh, you are bastardizing them. Oh, say, Omudi. Oh, can we are? Then you now
but
understand
so much. Because of the Supreme Court,
that is not what I'm saying. That is not what I'm saying. No.
Okay. Let me understand.
Even in our local palace, say Ohene Ekasa, largely, yempese obetwina no akosi bone ewo nipa mu. Even if the okaina you are only in there is a way, a procedure that obetuma fa etimi address your consensus. Judgment no ba ye obi anya judgment nkan. Afi na judgment no full judgment ko abeba. But enam so mama judgment ntino no obi aka say oh 11 ntino mo ko yesa. How can you say this with all respect? Nipa na what dey eyin ko dance Supreme Court 11 ntino dey call. Allow any now what dey a case no call Supreme Court no. Did he go there because I say 11 ntino me dey ba na? Debbie, he saw development in our democracy. And also say this deputy speaker and take a vote while presiding and I've been a member of parliament. Me kwa ko hello no then mrana esie obi say judgment abanti 11 na buy. Come on, how can we do this ourselves? You can't do that. I say enough if any say MP in semi. Isn't it a fact say or Canada na? The case is in court anyway. Isn't it also a fact say somebody is challenging his citizenship status? I'm not saying that has been concluded, but of course, Emrano SSA we can go through it. Obiti baby I will say there be 11 Emrano. Adamusa can the tamana of Supreme Court, any other court no, a final no guilty no. That are not 11 intino moye.
By election.
By election. By elections then. I'm saying that the ones can do a boy MP and Omudino court say what or Yaganani. And they took him through. Oh yeah, no, Odifo. Now once he didn't win the case, no, and I am ready, no. Now me find the currency, and then we know okay say on ca your friend is saying at as a form of you. So at that time, Rebecca said, 11 and our interest binti ana. Sumaila Beble or who the kettle no omuman de court. Can we say
how many man in the court?
No bishas here.
Because on one of the court.
Yes. Very good. Sumaila felt that there was something going wrong or the court or we and then so Obinso Tebia was say hey, I know they didn't 11 or yes sir. So I'm saying that with all respect. How to handle our politics, how to handle our democracy. Ghana has been blessed. Close to 30 years, we are running this constitution without any problem, without anybody fighting anyone, yen nyina betena radio so a ne obetima aka na waka to educate yemfa ebru enedie emankofo, then we can move on as a nation. Na say betena hanom and begin to destroy our own institutions. Which institution oba you work with it, then that will be a dangerous trend we are towing. And I would appeal to MPP communicators, I will appeal to NDC communicators on this matter. If we are going to end up bastardizing, destroying our courts, just for the sake of, criticize it. Nobody say you cannot criticize a judgment. You can. However, in criticizing a judgment, you must also be constructive and then back your criticism with law. If you say there's miscarriage of justice, tell the world why there is miscarriage of justice. And waiting and make us away expose the judge and the justice. You haven't done that. And that's a better and you are comfortable. Come on, that's dangerous. 11 and on yes, sir. Abra nya wo kwa na odi court. Obi dey ask about court. Who got you behavior say 11 na judge for. No, this is a serious matter. So for me, I'm saying that if we are going on this tangent, Nana, a be higher papa.
What you say most status are tangent, no? Achew, Mekai 2013 election petition, Sobet Kaya. Atuguba GSC presiding. To the extent that so Atuguba is the only one dissenting, all the time dissenting. Miami of a John of blessed memory. Kikansem, Hopsenadoye, Kikenbi, Ken Cranche, Samia Uku, and the likes. Kika. That time, you saw Atuguba's ruling as Adiana and Komamo until you had every problem with it. And I'm also more kind of Mobeka. Mekai say you call election petition 2020. Dimba Kwamete, a partner of Fresh Supreme Court justices, and say unanimous FC. Say they are always unanimous in their decisions. Mr. Mete, say, hey, I didn't even almost move you. I said, ne, court no rule here. Now, minority feels that the apex court of the land, boy, I'm a weakening minority. Now, Abayan Yakwaji levy. But Monsumu feel say, Supreme Court, we can, it has upheld the true letter and spirit of the 1992 Constitution. So, it is politicians no more say, baby, I'm de yafa over the period. I'm waiting na mo can be na mo undermine a friend is a statutory state bodies. Yeah, any be to say an arm of government like the judiciary. I say I don't say it with any disrespect to anybody. Sebia Supreme Court as a Parliament Sebi Udin Zim and executive Sebi Udin Zim Hunukre we are court why court J a first Akoji shade Yakope Yunubiasia Katano Mudia Drew Honso.
You see, Cardinal Maka Nemekaya na was season, and I said, say, Memfa me MPP Frimu, na me NDC Frimu. Nameka say, we should be careful the way we are going. You won't say your politics there, your interest there. Now, Ekodru Bebia, the national interest is supposed to be supreme. Then, of course, swallow your pride and let the national interest prevail. Ekokobo ekoma yenyina, which is very important to us. Ade, okay, Abu Ramadan case, no?
Voter register.
Voter register. On this health insurance card. So okay. And your parliament na pass a law. No? That law, na Supreme Court say enye juma. And your parliament na pass it. Parliament pass a law we are. Supreme Court yedi assembly court down will say we cannot establish, in my view, the citizenship of one who wants to register to become a voter. And the Supreme Court and Pampa almost say no. What Parliament did was inconsistent with the Constitution of Mother Ghana in terms of citizenship. And on where then, almost cancel it and almost strike it out. Okay, bailable offenses and non-bailable offenses.
Non-bailable offenses.
Martin Pebu, a lawyer, Okay? Also time call Supreme Court say, okay, ye fa hudie na ana ye human rights na, fundamental human rights na. He feels say it has been trampled upon by this law. Say offense be honma e billable, e be honma enya billable. Ono fi say entwa yi. Ampampa Supreme Court ne e ya adwen. Eno muka say the law as passed by Parliament was inconsistent with the rules of the Constitution. Is it different from what has happened today? 31st December, na ye holiday. Omude mratos. And Supreme Court of Ghana and a kwashi. There is a plethora, a series of them I can give you. And you see, separation of powers argument ne bimu make say Parliament esi hono mo regulations omo de omo ejuma. And executive so also omo ejuma. And judiciary one, that argument doesn't really arise when there are checks and balances put in place. And these checks and balances involve say judicial review, and the judiciary will also have to come in. And the betina hanuma law be na Parliament are passing because the Parliament thinks that we are on ourselves. Parliament say ochine yanko twa nyina nko twetwa yesa. Wan twa won sa etiamra. This barbaric law na nko mo pass. No obi akotam sekan. You say twetwa obi ansa na afide me hu ana ma twa won sa na me nam because eyamra. And in the Supreme Court and the judiciary is there. If such laws are passed, lex injusta, non ex lex.
Meaning?
Bad laws are no laws. If a law comes in which will trail us it can never be. So I am saying that if we do not learn as a nation and move on, then we are in for danger. Because the parochial interest, that partisanship, no akwemu. Debiana, the likes of Kennedy Dupont Omuka, people try to drum home this nationalistic fight, and nobody's listening to that. But I'm saying that look, maybe my interest first, money matter first, and some my movie. Yeah, additional cry also yes, cry to develop ourselves and move. No, and no cry if you say and no cry be more watch it. Yeah, pen time. That is not the way it is. Hey, and can you leave your say because you find say no cry until I come okay. Assembly. We have series of taxes are lining and our cohensua bebre and gentia ya evidi. Let's say, oh, this is how we can mobilize money to help ourselves. And can no kwampoa and can yasembone. But sometimes how we approach issues, Emma or Manyanka Sankasa is real. Come be a any light, come be a nisu, come be a young quine, or be a and a pharmacy have fertilizer, and I will say, Nina, I say, I buy full Friday. I buy say, hey, Nina Hanzono, young person a bear with me a pair, sika abwa or mino. Yes, they be any dear, yenti. Until no sebi, I move on or courses out their mouse, I call project nana. So I think we have to think. You see, but there how many say NDC has been in power before. MPP, we have been in power. This fourth Republican Constitution, it has been NDC and MPP. A Drew baby crying, we back at say, oh, only president that want to me criticize me. Really? And Ahmed made that point. Or beside journalists, be say, now work of Parliament. Really? Into me go Parliament, I mean to me without questions. You are in Parliament because of the people who have not been to Parliament before. On so they almost to abamao.
Come on, mame chipping we say.
Yeah.
You heard him say Dr. Ibrahim Zubeiru. Was a lecturer at Accra Technical University, was a member of the NDC's communication team. Because my production team information with the man say the Omone Zubeiru Enyan Enkitahudi Emma Oje Pene say Obeba. Send Omone Kamanya and Tiasian San Omone Dr. Zubeiru so etwetwe nkomomo no so ka se obeba but onyambe drui your friends is here so they are omfa enti no enye se bia yakofa kama nko abetra ha na yempese bia obi beka bi Dr. Zubeiru accepted to be on this show and so oni ha dia ene na ono anasemo a enye yen me production team asembio kama to aso. So
the argument is say na o nko parliament da na na what the parliament da ye na emi the parliament ejuma emra no ye nyina emra emra eda honum no so wutumi kenkan a nyina emra. Now you see one other thing me pese meka Sebi, enye no ma yako school nkwan na wo say yako parliament ko make mrawo. Debi. Ko kan article 94 of the same constitution. One ko school cry say ko parliament. Uya o farmer unko school da. Uko ofuom, odo ofuo, uya he, unko say unko for unkwan unpeso so and now conscience ka say wo na sefata. Who that common sense? Who that health to go and sit down and help pass laws for this country? Hono. So obia and chobia. So long as the law is there, the law guides all of us, and we have to work on it. I feel say and I will condemn it again. Say obi biara obe ba out. I will condemn the Supreme Court without any justification. No, that person must be condemned. Now my teacher say no cry. It is sad. Say NDC penyimfo bi trot social media say Supreme Court can't there. No more he say ni obeko parliament obi ba akoko use amra na ejuma. Really?
Yeah, I think I saw some George. If some George post something.
Very
like
good.
That.
When I saw that, it was sad, my brother. If that is the impression we are creating out there, yeah, the Magana for trying to paint a picture, a bleak picture, okay, about the Supreme Court, and saying, we will not obey a ruling from the Supreme Court, that is a dangerous trend. Now, if indeed, my good brother Sam George, I do respect him a lot, but no pass on that trust, in fact, I'll be disappointed. So much disappointed. Tell me more examples of rulings of Supreme Court, almost this so and it has worked. Why? The laws you are even passing in Parliament. Take Article 106 of the Constitution of Ghana. Read it through how laws are passed in Parliament before it goes to the president, and the president will accent it into law. Even that, it can go through a Beduna president signing. We are not almost say a law, a statute. The Supreme Court, so somebody brings it to them and invoke their original jurisdiction, they will look into it, and if it's a bad law, they will strike it out. Now what? Now a parliamentarian, a legislator who is supposed to know better, support the laws of this country. What you say? You will see how it's going to churn out in Parliament. Really? So we are in Parliament to box. We are in Parliament to receive slaps. We are in Parliament to throw chairs to people. Then it is clean. So for me, it is a dangerous one.
Okay.
MYA.
Come on, Mamen can say Karim Benzema Bilal at Canada Real Madrid in Tieka say 1-1. But in terms of goals aggregate, a 2-1 Paris Saint-Germain lead in Sa Ena Etie. Goalkeeper Donnarumma, why ye mistake you we are say I just say on one anybody we ask about Donnarumma, you could have done better. Even the Real Madrid team, but I thought Donnarumma could have done better. Anyway, me who have a referee nobody way as pushing because ball or mobile be able to try to young lawyer Giorgio Pare Ado Pablo Escobar or a national youth organizer NDC Pablo
Nana ya kese the cardinal Bibia Boko
Enya Boko
and John de Ate next week member.
Hey Pablo now so they said how they had and get wow
o cardinal member
that be what they can material for anti said that's also member
so the end of that
if I try Monday to Wednesday
Monday member
Monday be ya
Monday be ya
me ya domo okay and what can is here yo Pablo me da say nwumre party as the could do follow up nyame ya adoma Monday be hwe wanim na wa betrans na ya bonkomo e dia fa Ghana edikan mayenhwe free Supreme Court and the ruling on the by efa say obi a first deputy speaker and a second deputy speaker or ho kwan say obra otie konwamu no oto aba na say onto aba no the court gave a ruling on that today na as national youth organizer of your party and now we obi so a udi akotene ewo o party mu ene mabunu ensem mu ruling no wankasa usomu sen
the kind of media working for Chile or KESSEH so and so I feel and then the kind of like a platform so my main partner is also my name of in Africa but and we accept the decision of the Supreme Court but respectfully we disagree with the decision so from a lawyer's perspective, my ethics actually is once the Supreme Court decides, at the point in time, the litigation about to an end. It's the final arbiter in all matters, and especially issues of the Constitution in the Supreme Court. But that doesn't mean that decision the Supreme Court so from where I sit, and from any analysis I disagree totally with the decision of the Supreme Court. And the doctrine of separation of powers. The GDP the premise of the Constitution in India or more espouses that doctrine of separation of powers, so that the executive, legislature, and the judiciary will be a better section in here. And the concept of parliament supremacy, so that issues that happens on the floor of parliament, nobody can interfere. So parliament itself is a master of itself, on Nwakasa and the Senembra, because laws are made by parliament. The judiciary do not make laws. And I am also one of the lawyers who believes laws should not be made by the courts. The courts should strictly interpret what laws are. So when it comes to the 40 laws of the doctrine, I don't believe the purposive approach to interpretation. I am a strict literalist to the letter of the law. That is what I believe in. And I want this to form the basis of the analysis. It said, Supreme Court, if the court every day will go behind the reasoning of why the draftsman drafts a law in a certain way, and then he will put his own interpretation, and in doing so, rewrite the law. For me, it's problematic, and that is exactly what our Supreme Court is doing. And then the standing orders of Parliament is being tracked before the Supreme Court of this country for the Supreme Court to decide what the standing orders of Parliament should be. Respectfully, the Supreme Court got it wrong in that respect, because then it defeats that doctrine of separation of powers. Because if today Parliament decides to do anything, and anybody decides on the Parliament in court, not Parliament and not court in the then we have no Parliament. So what we are saying is that the supremacy of our Constitution, judges now may know you have to have more. Now power resides in the people, and it's just the other side. Because we know that the only people with legitimate authority to decide for you and I, it's not the court. It is the Parliament of this country. Because the one I'm doing I am not engaging now. And our political question doctrine and what your laws. It is because some questions are political, you cannot attempt to answer. The court stay off it. Immediately the court decides to intervene. Now it gets into especially subjecting the standing orders of Parliament. Then the Parliament, to me, now Constitution guarantees they are master of their own laws and procedures. That's that to me, our heifer. So for me, respectfully, I chose the 7 judges head. But the statement made by St. George, from where I sit, I can understand him and his pain and his frustration. And so we can choose to put any interpretations to it. But if you are a movie, at the initial onset of it, would have said, well, what I feel Parliament, what I feel the Supreme Court here is that indirectly, the Supreme Court is going to pass the e-levy for the people of Ghana. The Supreme Court has no mandate because they don't have the mandate of Mineo. They are appointed to sit there. Those who sit in Parliament, so they are representatives directly. So they speak for the people of this country. And so, the Supreme Court, and you see, judgment ever. Now, people who are even non-political start commenting on it, are problematic. Today, on social media, everybody is lambasting the judges of the Supreme Court. What it clearly tells you is the decision they've come out with is an unpopular one. And it doesn't sit well with reason. I am asking myself that what was the basis? Unfortunately, behind kind of reasoning because decisions being by, even though they've given the ruling, they know who the reasons behind it. For we students of the law, we will take time to read the decisions. But from everybody, I've seen senior lawyers today on their platforms, lawyers, their platforms, and the discussions that have gone on. It hasn't augured well for the reputation of the Supreme Court. Because if people have doubts about the courts, then you know what we are doing? We'll be building an anti-law society, a society where laws don't work. Because when people lose confidence in the judiciary, then where do we go? And so when decisions come, and one decision about very controversial, the issue of birth certificate. But today the Supreme Court has rendered me know your birth certificate useless. In Nehemiah law school, the midnight candles are burning here. The doctrines, philosophies, and principles that were taught they are practicing. In the last 3-4 years, a lot of the decisions that have come from the Supreme Court make nonsense of that principles in the manner you sharing. So you ask yourself, what has changed with the law? All over.
Pablo. Hello, Pablo. Me pesa me bisa o enema kakaka me pesa me te e ha say na say then me to bisa me question here. Is it your argument say parliament no or a master order ne ho and this parliament ye bibia Supreme Court to create ni ho kwan so kan bibia? Is that the argument?
When they say that you want the political question doctrine in law, which says that, for instance, some decisions the executive take, no court can intervene in that. So I say, some decisions that come from Parliament, procedures and orders of Parliament, the Supreme Court cannot come and interfere. Immediately the Supreme Court comes to interfere, now the doctrine of separation of powers has been defeated.
Okay, no
when
problem.
Parliament makes laws, but the laws are going to go out like statutes. Acts in the about Article 2:1 of the Constitution, any law that is inconsistent with the law should be brought to court, and then the court will listen to it. If the court feels strongly about it, the court can strike it out. That is a law that is coming out for you. But the rules and procedures of Parliament are rules that govern the House of Parliament. It is a member. If the Chief Justice will issue administrative notes to judges, and somebody is not up here, who is going to correct it? Can Parliament come and interfere in the affairs of the judiciary? No. When the executive does something within the executive, and people are not up here, within the executive, can Parliament or the judiciary get involved in it? And the President can say, where you are promoting the Minister of State, can the Supreme Court come and say, only State Minister? No. And that is the political doctrine question. So there are some decisions that within, for instance, the orders and procedures of Parliament. The Supreme Court cannot rewrite the orders and procedures of Parliament for Parliament.
Okay, so Pablo,
the principle of separation of power.
Pablo, per your reading and study of the law, are you saying the standing orders of Parliament really supreme over the 1992 Constitution?
No. Nobody. The ground norm of this country, the ground norm of this country, a constitution.
Okay.
All other laws takes its power from the constitution. So I say, when it comes to interpretation, and because when you want to do modern purposive interpretation, you can even turn a man into a woman, and it is dangerous. So, Mr. Because I am a literalist. I don't believe in modern purposive interpretation. Because a unruly monster, it can lead you anywhere.
My difficulty in your say, are you suggesting in any way, say, yes, a parliament did or standing orders, my Supreme Court and Kawasem, and you say, Parliament, standing orders say, over Parliament, na say be a parliamentarian, be a there, Shinasum, na a part of the standing orders because Parliament is a master of its own, even the Supreme Court cannot intervene.
So I'm coming. Okay. When the president decides to fire and appoint, can the Supreme Court tell the president we should appoint? Go and read the decision in Richard the last guy consolidated KCC on the appointment of judges to the Supreme Court. Around President Mama, yes, appointment. Go and read the reasoning. Go and read the decision in the officer in that decision. What the Supreme Court said. But when they say advice, offer.
No, but Master George, only meaning say about appointment. The Constitution, the supreme law of the land. Emma Omampeni sa power no to appoint whoever he so wishes, provided that person qualifies by the dictates of this Constitution to occupy that position. The president can say, me, President Opariado, send nipa way and I'm a person or yes, amen. And he said, Sir President Opariado say, send nipa way and person or yes, mame. Now law no say, Parliament and vetino. I don't know Nkian Council say President no okuta executive powers. It is a president yi nipa. Parliament nso ni ho kwan say ono so ko veti nipa president no because Parliament is a master of its own. Executive is a master of its own.
No. The Constitution says that when the president appoints, Parliament must fetch the person, and the person must be approved by Parliament. And then the Constitution. Okay?
Sir?
So there is a procedure it follows.
Okay.
Because when it comes to procedures, court on any matter in regard to procedures, and you don't follow the procedures, the court will not be kind to you. As we all know.
But when you say, Pablo, on that time, some particular case here, and this Supreme Court, on that, na nincheche muna babe interpretation to the extent that the interpretation of the standing orders of Parliament, now, it was done hand in hand with the provisions of the 1992 Constitution. Aubekaya Omoka say whether the first speaker has original vote or not. No, unim say na ababeye issue of interpretation of the 1992 Constitution. Do you agree?
But the Constitution says the speaker has an original vote.
Say again.
The Constitution says that the speaker has an original vote.
Well,
exactly. And I'm going to say, when you use the modern purposive approach interpretation, you can even turn a man into a woman because you can always find reason to justify any decision you want to come to. And that is what our Supreme Court is doing. And that is where the problem lies. Because sometimes, there is something called public policy in law. When judges are coming to their conclusions in their decisions, you ask yourself whether this decision, it will be popular and it will serve the greater good of the country. What the Supreme Court is doing today, and with this decision, all we are saying is that the role of the first and second deputy speaker is unimportant. Because if they want to vote, then they should remain MPs and vote, and they should not ascend to the throne. Because simple common sense tells us that you cannot be a judge and then a plaintiff or an accused in your own matter. So if me and me presiding, if the empire is not getting involved in the game, really,
okay.
Please, Nanaya.
Pablo, maybe you have two questions be answered based on maybe one side but before I put the next question to you, Mamenka say Karim Benzema no answer the second go account. It here can 2-2 ewo Santiago Bernabeu. Anyway, Pablo, na me dwena say me ruling ba na me so me making kind the eja mo amoya lawyer for no making kind no say eja the law school ya me amahitre itimi di kobi die ankobi ba dia ba kwa na me nwanwa ne say identity as a parliamentarian nipa ne to abama no na onya bedu parliament fie ho na chena president na otiso no gidi say say nipa wei na osese oye the speaker of, and it is 3-1 in Real Madrid's favor. Karim Benzema hat-trick against PSG. Believe you me. That's the president to say. Parliament there, but he is the person I want to be my speaker. For instance, in the case of Honorable Edward Ajahu, he was an elect or yet to Obama and say MP obedru Parliament. But President Otuoni Nyansemuno, not do Ajaho nebetimi speaker, enti onominati no as speaker. O wini ye no overgetting seat. Never has it been said in our history, say, first or deputy speaker of parliament having been elected to occupy that same position, no, vacating his seat because says speaker ni the law envisages says speaker ni bi no or mumieru na behwe akire ho. But no says speaker also speaker ni or retaining his seat even if he presides over the issues of the house.
So I explain to you. You can only have one speaker at any point in time. So there is a recognized speaker of parliament.
Good.
With the constitution defines. The first and second deputy speaker. In their absence, the law allows the parliamentary can choose one of them to preside at their meetings. So the first and second deputy speaker, they only play supporting rules in the absence of the speaker.
So they are not speakers, right?
Just like any other member.
So Pablo, you do admit to say the first. So one kasa ujitum say the first and the second deputy speakers of parliament. First of all, are parliamentarians and they are not speakers.
Nobody is disputing that. Nobody is disputing that. But immediately they assume the chair. Immediately they assume the chair. They wear the role of the speaker. So at that particular session, they forgo their parliamentary power to act as speaker.
No.
So remember, just like we are committee chairman, you don't originally have a casting vote at the committee level. But
when say even though you don't have original own to abano, but when the abano muti na tire, wona we chairman
so that is the role of the emperor. So you can decide. It's just like a referee. On board you decide the way you go and answer offside. Says go the outside cannot referee go at that particular moment when the clear go there you go.
Judge, then will you agree with almost a hold view say? So way by argument am I there? Just as the speaker is not a member of the house, and a first and deputy no so first and second deputies no. Young compare omunfia bontemra ni ehun say 275
from the decision of the Supreme Court. Clearly, they have made nonsense of the first and second deputy speaker's role.
No, but George, if you say that, it's not very harsh on the Supreme Court. Because the very law that establishes Parliament, our Constitution, Chrono, ama Supreme Court, no, original jurisdiction to interpret, no, or say, yen Parliament ni say in it here, yebenya first, yebenya speaker, ni yenya two deputy speakers. Or chere baby any deputy speakers no free, but sa parliament do ya who ye emrakure ya o can Supreme Court interpret and I will say parliament no making nonsense of first and deputy speakers. Yem parliament free 1992 basis abi a fourth republic here you wumi. And see da babia say because obi a first and a second deputy speaker ntino he ceases to be a member of parliament, as in the case of the speaker. And the other way, clear.
No. You see, that is where you are confusing the fact. If you assume the chair for that day, even at the assembly level, the district assembly level, we the district assembly say law. No? If a member presides, the day you preside, you forgo your rights on the floor. No? Because you sit in a different chair, you become an empire in the matter.
Which law says that, please?
Me say, oh shit, this is assembly law now. Say, oh yeah, assemblyman. Now, over now the preside here. As presiding member, when we should get a member presiding now. On that day, when even the assembly is taking a vote and you're a member presiding, you don't vote. So because you cannot be a referee and an empire in your own matter.
Okay, and to the every assembly on the parliament.
Problematic. And for me, I say that with the decision, the doctrine of separation of powers is under attack. Simple as ABC. Because today, anything Parliament does, the Supreme Court can come and say no. So it means today, too many in the Supreme Court, it is not in Parliament anymore, where the people think.
No, George, you are not. It is only because why should that so say person will share at the end in your interest. But before that,
from the way the courts are going and interfering with every decision, clearly, on we'll have another president, another chief justice, who will come and decide when Parliament is in a session. You come and call it it's unconstitutional for Parliament to sit at a certain date or at a certain time. And what the if we don't stop it today and clearly define the role of Parliament, the role of the court, and the role of the executive. Then you would say, you're too many in Ameno, you're too many, it's not executive, it's a Parliament. Because I want to know yet. That is the house of the people. Somebody else here, the house of the people. Parliament, then the house of the people. Supreme Court, and the house of the people. Parliament, and the house of the people. If you want to know, the Supreme Court, for me, personally, I think that this one is what is wrong.
Okay. Now, my person may kind be free constitution. Oh, now you're a lawyer. Unim seneme. Do wait me actually me as better. May kind free Article 1301. Okay, so 1301 says, subject to the jurisdiction of the High Court in the enforcement of the fundamental human rights and freedoms as provided in Article 33 of this Constitution, the Supreme Court shall have exclusive original jurisdiction in A, all matters relating to the enforcement of interpretation of this Constitution, and B, all matters arising as to whether an enactment was made in excess of the powers conferred on Parliament or any other authority or person by law or under this Constitution, where an issue that relates to a matter or questions referred to in clause 1 of this article arises in any proceedings in a court other than the Supreme Court, the court shall stay the proceedings. Okay.
And I refer the matter to the Supreme Court for interpretation.
Sure. So how do you explain this portion to me?
Very, very simple. I say, when laws are made that are enactments that affect everybody and doesn't remain in Parliament, then Parliament do not have exclusive rights over it, simply because about the affecting the outside Parliament. But issues that govern the administration of Parliament, the Supreme Court cannot intervene.
Cannot intervene in the standing orders of Parliament?
Yes, yes, yes.
Even when its legitimacy is challenged?
So who challenged? That is where the difficulty lies. The Supreme Court should have stayed away from the matter and told the person to say,
how?
This matter, because the Supreme Court do not have the power to come and intervene in matters of Parliament. As simple as ABCD. But other cases have gone and the Supreme Court has declined jurisdiction. And then maybe the Supreme Court, like I said, this one they don't have jurisdiction.
Now, because I'm more lawyer for almost a case be I trying on the merits of that case. On one case, this one, the merit of it says that it is an issue that concerns Parliament. It is a procedural issue involving Parliament. It does if the Chief Justice issues administrative orders and our practice orders can Parliament intervene? The Chief Justice do not make laws, but on practice orders. Can Parliament come and say because he doesn't have the power to make laws? It's in the practice orders, not the Abano. No. No. It is very simple. The Supreme Court should have declined jurisdiction on this matter because clearly they don't have jurisdiction to go into issues of procedures of Parliament and how Parliament operates on the floor. As simple as ABCD. I see. Pablo, I said you say Monday. Monday your appointment.
Monday
Mate, you better hear him. Okay, but that's it. George Opare Ado, a National Youth Organizer, NDC. Onona meneno etwetwe enkomoyi. Yes, come on.
Cardinal.
Yes, sir.
The last question I will be sir Opare Ado. Or the Kodan and or the Kojina separation of powers. Or say Parliament ankasa. It would to me say, almost share mra and almost procedure in Parliament. And I'll make the argument of procedural, if any say, consents. Me patcho. Kind provision of this Constitution 110. And then they say, or say subject to That's the beginning of it. Subject to the provisions of this constitution, Parliament may, by standing orders, regulate its own procedure. And subject to emphasis on that one. Now, what is the case here? Case in say, based on the constitution, Ebimo say Deputy Speaker Entimi Entwaba and I cannot be counted as a member of Parliament. The constitution establishes a member of Parliament the first of all. Now, Eko Drew Honma, Ebimo say Ontimi Entwaba, and will be called the court down Supreme Court. Ebiso almost say subject to this constitution, and say a member of Parliament of Bekwai, a member of Parliament of Fomina, who is a deputy speaker or second deputy speaker, no, on to me and be counted as a member of Parliament. And simple common sense. And the Supreme Court say no. If it is this constitution, once they are members of Parliament representing the people of Ghana, of course, we reason that they should be counted. Obviously, there be your procedure no, 1093. And I'm saying yeah, procedure no, separation of powers are boom. And I'm saying no, you Supreme Court cannot say that yeah intimi enye ne no. And the Supreme Court say no, any law which is inconsistent to this constitution is no law. It's a simple, straightforward matter. I mean, why we are trying to drag this matter to a level that you create problems. Am I home? Maybe if we say this idea of separation of powers doesn't arise at all on this matter, so long as procedure no establish it, say and yet consistent with the constitution, and now procedure in Parliament, I can say is subject to the constitution. No, I don't think the Supreme Court is wrong in my view. In my view, Minjindi say Supreme Court wrong. Secondly, Oparado, or say courts don't make laws. I agree. But court makes laws per our legal system. He's a lawyer, I'm not a lawyer. But for a legal system now, we have what we call the case laws and our common law principles. And every case law is a law. It is not to say that there cannot be a written law by Parliament, which is there. However, laws be Parliament in then the courts are able to pronounce and to make laws for us to follow. So I'm saying that argument of say court don't make laws, so when it comes to the common law principle, is defeated. You see, but I'm saying that our democracy is young. Once we are nurturing our democracy, me, my basic belief and principle is simple. At the end, framers of constitution, no, Eka said there's a quorum for Parliament and there's a quorum for decision to be taken. There are two things. 102 will say there's a quorum for the House. Okay? And the second one is a quorum for decision to be taken. And the quorum for the House, it's shown how it is. And a 104 so quorum, you take a decision so and that is where the argument is whether or not a member of Parliament sitting or presiding can be counted as a member of Parliament or not. A Supreme Court said no, so long as a member of Parliament can be counted. And I like the good question I hope Oparado said J.O. Ajohu Ebeye, Speaker of Parliament. Did he vacate his seat or not? So vacate here. Yeah, sure. Emma, the people of Akachi North or Akachi, wherever then, had to go to a by-election and elect another person to represent them. It means the person must be counted. And I'm for the purposes of decision taken in the House. And I can go because I want to Parliament, we only saw the speaker, because we won't even counting the person. You see, all these things, development, but I think that and I say make certain comments. Intellectually, yes, you have the right to make such arguments, and I'm happy with Oparado's submission to this evening. From his law perspective, he has been able to say that I'm hinging my arguments on separation of powers. One did you be at him, one year, but the danger is that a kodru baby a year did yem penny for tema to choose the Supreme Court. Then of course we are throwing democracy and principles of democracy to the dogs. And M1 or Mangana, M1 Yakanko. I will repeat this and continue to say, yen desisted from it. M1. If you disagree with them intellectually come out to tell us why you have disagreed. We'll read it and understand. Seek for a review. Maybe they will change their stand and follow what you have said. But you say the one can find Yejuma. You drew on my when even your own procedures is mentioned in the Constitution. You think if it's not relevant, the procedure, if I say the framers of the Constitution come back about your procedure in Parliament. They know that you will have a procedure, but that procedure should not be arbitrary and should not be inconsistent to the law. So I think it's commonsensical. Say we work on it, the cardinal.
Akasimabe siana na abo nundu. The platform eno asungu so autie senam di ka kan no na nka se Dr. Zubairu Ibrahim obaha na yedin komo ina nwumre but wama oje penen so se obeba wama enti mamenkai mo se Santiago Bernabeu game no aba na wieye Real Madrid 3 Paris Saint-Germain 1 enti Real Madrid goes through 3-2 on aggregate. PSG were the likes of Neymar, Kylian Mbappe, Lionel Andre Messi with 1 goal advantage and no by Santiago Bernabeu. Omza binya first goal and so yasha Winjina msisa akwa Mauricio Pochettino no. Ubi amfana me Manchester United baby ano. Oni sa character no. Oni bi. Uwo Messi, uwo Neymar, uwo Mbappe, uwo 1 goal advantage. Uba wasan ba beshe. The Morino can center like one strike and try. Anyway, come on. There's another issue. I don't compare in Yakwan Kamwasempa, but Brena Swan. No, it has to do with police for. And Akoba said they are involved in robbery. I'm a police for. In fact, suspected police robbers. Akobo Munia police are no who provided escort service. Ediama bullion van, cash in transit. And now. Police for say omoye investigation omo hu say omo nuanom police for no bi eni hu bi omo boa police in investigation bi etu aka mienu ama omo so aye ya media obi say ngofo ayen yetua omo ka so omo moye ho ban no say yetua omo ka mo masa ba bi wi aye police and us ye be sure that nya time aka ho asempa but in the next 2 or 3 minutes
I me tea story no na me di chiga krana them say ha make a cra. But I would say again, say, on my yeah, na beti me abro, achechere me amakusi. Yen so timamufo ya na amanfo na ye timuno, yen na beti me say on my. Only why I'm saying this. Ye be police recruitment. Instead of say ye beti me aboa ama aban no ana institution e background check papa. I'm here na politicians ya dey akojim. Nobody na social media. And I mean, I'm a boy, we call police. Intima yambo mabaso. Me I'm a boy, we enya fire service. Yambo mabaso. And I think Nipana, you boy no say one be police, one be say no. Bam boss him na ye can want him no. So Nipana, how well do you know that person? There's supposed to be a process for us to get on. These developed countries are America, UK, other places. See, it is not to say so. Some of them don't have criminal records. They do. Police can cause that, but omuye thorough background checks. And some could do. How well do we do that in this country? It is something we need to relook at. The recruitment process into the services. But again. Yeah, koko kan be politics. And a politician. Me na ma me no na aya ye to abama one family, one yesi. But this story that is coming out, even though it's under investigation, you're worrying. Again, your first time near, yet is a police ni and a soldier ni. Yachin is a human institution. Some people may be or may go wrong in line of duties. Etimisi. Ya can recruitment no. There are some who say a human institution, of course, and from so some people in the course of that no so why your checks na we no obetima asasa na wakodi bone. And finally, medicine, the last for the leisures of this world. ye disika. Nana, I don't know whether you have watched it. Who they drive a court institution beer in this country. Park. Upia. Security man also hell car no. Or who are honorable. So honorable na cost 50 cedis. So you honorable no obesriska. So that person already compromises his position or her position. Or your secretary and receptionist, first thing as a first cabra may end this car. Look, and it is everywhere, it's widespread, and it's becoming a big problem in this country. Look, now, one time I went to China, Beijing, and Madame Fubi at the Meko restaurant. We had lunch. Me, I feel say business as usual. See, now me yiska, almost can now me my girl now be serving. Tip. My man was no. The way the lady refused to take the money from me. That means now Madame for the catch me say, hey, I come had the they believe in the work they have done and what they earn out of that job. That is that you cannot take a tip. Let me say, but America is different, and Ghana also is different. But that is the way almost culture at here. Now, if such a person, woman will be quite on on him say, I believe in working on what so that Juman or Baba Yano, the Nibba Dahon will be Jumani. But so long as you compromise your home, or you will be no bit in one area, or be the life assessor, we don't question. Uwankwala was sorry, I was a dem sa de be on pie. One day, opie or ban or the best for Frabis if you pianajo. And our piano pianajo. Misa. So we have so many issues in this world, this country, that is actually, if you like, influencing us as a people and then impacting or introducing negative behavior in us. So I said the breakdown continues like this, it will be dangerous again. First, Ghana, now you take roadblocks. So we're quite so now attack a bus, a shooting, and then a common. Ghana, na difficult so but it's a arm robbers attack will be. And then a common. Bullion van Akufiska one number broad daylight. With that, if anything, yes, courage, no more buy out. Then see that. So long as the population no a developer a grow no, the cardinal, we should expect some of these things and also try to institute measures to curb them. But the only way we can do that is to fight the unemployment and fight the illiteracy in our system. Illiteracy, unemployment.
At least
no, but it's what is Omako Kakra? But the problem America is a police phone the last. Police ni me pay auction car. Who pay? First of all, no, you have to say 1,500. The next woman me pay car 1,500 no pay car no ABI ever say pay car na fuel any other things pay no can you cater for it. You've not asked your question. You see, we are living beyond our means as a people. And that's a problem. And we are all part of it. We are all living beyond our means. And it is dangerous to us as a people. And I am a politician. Now, you're in policies, party policy, you want to be a leader, you must look for money, go and do it out to people, and then you are relevant. Knowledge said, so long as you do not push in money, you can be relevant in a society. So whoever, whatever, I'm not saying say me saint. But as a society, I say you're building. Some of these happenings, say yan chance here, and say adwin, and question a bit more. I think we are going to have a problem. And then the growth of the population in our cities and so on. Now, a hard ye. Now just travel out. Bus. Now, yes, Cooking Tampo area. Look at the vast land there. Anka farming, commercial farming, you engage the youth. Me, I want to advocate as part of planting for food and jobs. So, great minister they should start with state farms, like we used to do.
Agric minister.
And I'm telling you, they should start with a model of state farming. And the state farms, all they can do is to employ youth. Yeah, employ like we have done for forestry model. Forestry model, they give them some, if I say 400 or 500 Ghana cedis, and then scores of them are part of it. My constituency say most of them are part of it. So if there are state farms, you find say you burn off about like 100 acres, I had 200 acres, I had 400 acres, and all the youth are here coming. Ya for mojuma ewo hono in that particular area. Almost left it now buying export it and now the bar. I think it will help us more. So vast land and it will engage most of the youth. And to say tackle that unemployment issue now. Yeah, anti-man tackle the year. Now say anti-man policy and bar. I think some of these crimes will continue to rise.
Kamadin Abdallah. Nasemi ena the platform. I was for Majami production team Isaac Udro China Udi ni birthday Idi Animu Patricia Sefa Fisher Samuel Apia Prince Balfour Asamoah Elizabeth Ejin Anemu na madam nyina ase na madam Alhaji Kamadin enso so ase efreme nana ya KESSEH obetimi afreme the cardinal echena zena mediki aka no Isaac Udro Bob G aka 5 CDs echena Isaac Udro birthday inti Bacho more goodwill messages via ayana mode amano na ochena na woda Isaac Udro nyame ya adom a na se bodum yenu na yesi da foforo mu a yesre nyame nyansa ma na afese se na bia honam kakra ba ho na yahwese ne nyame de be yo ede wade asomdwe agya mu nyina makra mu
Zamanyina Oya kwentu ahinze na ngwasum Vyazi mzamane numu nyipe nyina Obi boko